What's up? What's up? Another day leveled up. It's your boy Salem back with another one for you. It's been about about 6, 7 days, almost a week, I'd say. I've given you guys a video, but I've been a little sick. I've had a little cough, trying to get over that. Still at the tail end of it, but I feel comfortable enough to make a video. And yeah, one of the highly requested videos on Nikola Tesla, and if he was a semen retention god. If Tesla owes semen retention to any of his successes and inventions. I think it's a real interesting topic that I wanted to get into. But before I do, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's growing this channel. I don't know if you're telling your friends or family about it, but it's growing at a great pace. I hit over 500 subscribers, and a little over 200,000 total views on my videos. So, like I said, I've only been making these videos for about 2 months now. So, I could only say thank you guys, and yeah, I just want to say I'm excited to keep this channel growing. It's going to be growing for a while, as long as I want to keep this going, which will be for a while. But yeah, let's get into this. It took me a while to come up with this topic and how I wanted to go about listing off these facts and things on Tesla. I didn't want it to be like a straight up autobiography on him, but I did take some notes down on how he was raised and things that stood out to me that I think that were pretty monumental in his life, and can maybe give some inspiration to you guys as well. But I want to start off with a quote of his, which is, he says, "If you want to understand the laws of the universe, think in terms of vibration and frequency." So that right there just shows Tesla was a very metaphysical type thinker, a real spiritual type guy. And ironically, this guy was born during a lightning storm in 1856. His midwife, the midwife in his home, who birthed him from his mother, said he was going to be a child of darkness, but his mom declared no, he's going to be a child of light, and he was more than that. Growing up, he had an insane amount of intuition and sight. He claimed to be visited by angels when he was growing up, and he would have some crazy dreams, but he was so fascinated by electricity throughout his whole life, and he was a great thinker. He had the idea, living in Croatia, that's where he was born, for the AC unit, which would be another type of unit, and form a kind of like a method that electricity would be powered other than a DC unit. That's what Thomas Edison was using at the time. And he heard about Thomas Edison and was fascinated by him. So he actually packed up his things and moved to the US when he was about 28. That was 1884, with 4 cents in his pocket. I mean, that probably went a lot more ways than it does today, but yeah, he actually went to the U.S. With hopes of getting in front of Edison and showing him the plans for his AC unit, and Edison helping him go about inventing this. So he actually got in front of him. Let's see, yeah, Edison saw his potential and wanted to bring him aboard, but he didn't want to disrupt his already DC units, so he just brought him aboard and just hired him. But he did offer Tesla $50,000 at the time to improve his already DC generators, and to no surprise he did. Tesla did, but Edison didn't hold up to his deal. He literally told him he'd maybe give him maybe a $5 pay raise and something like that, but it was bullshit. Tesla left. He was pissed. he eventually found other investors to help him start his own lab and start his own experiments. And yeah, he started up and going. But during this time, he was investigated many times because of his experiments by the U.S. government, claiming that he was building some death ray. But it was definitely Edison who was behind that all, because he was definitely jealous. His hundreds of inventions related to electricity, they didn't sit well with Edison, and Edison began to trying to take down Tesla and his inventions and show the public that what he was doing was dangerous. So at a point, Edison would begin experimenting on circus animals like elephants and things like that, and electrocuting these animals and showing the public how horrible electricity was used this certain way, and even started up the electric chair. It's crazy. It's always someone trying to rain on the parade. Tesla was just trying to be real genuine and help out the world, and that's just not how it works sometimes. But in Tesla's defense, he was on a mission to prove that the human body was perfectly capable of conducting electricity, that he would then perform experiments on himself. I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures of him controlling and conducting electricity through his whole body. It was insane. But he figured out how to do this and would put on these shows and show these people that there was nothing to be afraid of. But still, I mean, he looked otherworldly. In 1896, Tesla was then introduced to Swami Vivekananda, the Hindu sage. I'm sure you guys have heard about him if you guys are on this semen retention journey. If not, he was one of the most famous celibate Hindu sages, and Nikola Tesla started a study with him. They focused on prana, the kasha, and gobus, I think it's called. But the kasha, I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but that's the Akashic records. The Akashic records is it's like the ether in the world, the super conscious, the mind, the world of the universe, the mind of the universe. It's known to store all the records of human events, thoughts, words, emotions, inventions, intents, ever to be recorded, past, present, and future, and encoded in a non-physical plane of existence known as the etherical plane. But that's like the Akasha records. But they believed this type of mind could be tapped in through the life-given prana. And Tesla was notorious for, before he was to conduct his experiments, they said he would take like a shot of whiskey and sit back and just meditate. I don't know for how long before he started his experiments, but what he was doing was diving into the superconscious mind. He was literally trying to get answers from the world. Like he literally was diving into the ethereal plane and coming out with these ideas for these inventions. This dude had the cell phone, plans for our cell phone, our smartphone, not just any phone, but our smartphone. In 1901, he had plans for our smartphone. He already knew how it would work and things like that, but there's no way that they were going to have smartphones in 1901. But imagine if they did. That'd be crazy. Who knows where we'd be right now. But Swami, he was a celibate his whole life. So this guy, they said, ascended when he was in his late 50s. Just was too spiritual for his own body, apparently, and just ascended. He says his powers of the intellect and memory and divine access was given to him after 12 years of celibacy. The chaste mind has tremendous power. Tesla became celibate around age 40, I believe, and continued till the rest of his life. He was one of the most sought-after bachelors in his time. If anybody, like I said, is familiar with semen retention, I'm sure that had a lot to do with it as well. But they said when he would walk in anywhere, he would have like an otherworldly presence. He had the most striking features, pale blue eyes. At one point, he swore off all sexual desires. And at one point, he actually started wearing gloves because he didn't want his energy to be disrupted by shaking hands or anything like that. So I thought that was kind of weird. But he also believed that the modern woman, even at that time, was becoming too masculine, and he had no desire to take part of that. I thought that was pretty crazy. He actually said he sees our society going on track into becoming a sort of beehive type society where there's a queen bee who runs a society, and men are just subservient to these females, and it's pretty dark type of place. I don't think I'd want to live in, but I think it takes people just being aware of things like this to begin shedding light. So if they do see it going down the wrong way, maybe they could call attention to it. But I'm not gonna allow that to keep me up at night. I can't control that, but I will do the best to live my own heaven on earth and not my own hell. So suggest you guys do the same. But yeah, I'd say since Tesla began being a celibate at age 40 into his last of days, conducting all these, conducting electricity through his body, coming up with all of these inventions, I would definitely say semen retention had a hand in all this. It's no surprise that this guy, who was one of the most famous inventors on this earth, practiced semen retention. When I think of Nikola Tesla, he's at the pinnacle of the height of this thing and where you could take it. And maybe Swami Vivekananda is probably one of a height higher than Nikola Tesla. The fact that he ascended, like, who just ascends? That's crazy. But this is definitely not a practice to take lightly. I mean, it's a lifestyle, and there's definitely heights and places you could go with it if you are definitely focused with it and not just sitting around looking for benefits and things to fall out of the sky. Tesla passed away at the age of 86 in the New Yorker hotel where he was living the last of his days. He was pretty much poor at that time. As he began to grow older, he was not the best businessman. Thomas Edison was one of the better businessmen than him. He was more like I'd say like a Bill Gates, and Edison was like a Steve Jobs almost. But Tesla just enjoyed inventing, and he wasn't great with the court system, and his patents and money were taken away by a lot of people that were smarter than him in the legal system. So he died pretty much broke, alone in the New Yorker hotel. He died of coronary thrombosis. It's like a blood clot type disease. But sadly, yeah. but when he did die, his experiments and all his plans were stripped from his room by an unknown source, like a day or so after he died. So I think that's pretty fishy. He definitely was sitting on some gold mine type of inventions, and he died with about 700 patents to his name. Dude could speak about 8 languages. Like, this guy was literally out of this world. But Tesla, he became a genius because of 3 attributes, and that's having a higher objective, always having something he was striving for, always something he was striving for. This dude did not sleep. His sleeping schedule was pretty insane. He would take like maybe 4 or 5 naps a day, like maybe I think hour naps. He never slept longer than like 2 or 3 hours. The observance of celibacy, that brings knowledge of all tenses, they say. Tenses, not senses, but senses as well, but tenses of past, present, and future. It brings knowledge of that when you are real chaste in your thinking. I can think back when I was on about 100 or something so streak about a couple of years ago. A lot of things were coming to me that I just could have guessed. I mean, this time around I'm still at about 70 days, but I definitely am trying to be as strict as I was with my thinking and my diet and things like that, so I'm able to experience more type of benefits this time around as well, and sustain and be on this path longer than I did before, and definitely give my experiences on that and take this channel to a different level and begin to help you guys personally from firsthand experience. So that's another thing I want to do with this channel as well. Back to this, the third attribute to him being a genius was following higher souls. He followed Swami Vivekananda, and yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, we are spiritual beings in human bodies having a human experience, and I think when you are retaining, you allow your spirit to begin to raise that. They say when Swami ascended, his spirit just got too big for his body. Like, his spirit was just done with this reality almost, it seems like. And he ascended. He did what he had to do here. He did his life's purpose. There was just nothing for him here but to be a leader, and he accomplished that, and he ascended. But your spirit and your consciousness definitely raises the longer you're celibate for. So that's something to be aware of. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody's ready for that. I still enjoy this life, and I want to experience a lot. I want to travel a lot around this world, see a lot, almost every inch of this world before it's my time. And I want to make sure I'm at the best type of mental state and able to travel this world and help people like you guys while on that journey of traveling, and wherever I'm at, begin to definitely help people around me and help them reach their goals. I mean, that's all I'm here for. I know me helping everybody else reach their goal, I will get to my goals, and I find this is my purpose. I feel like people's purpose, you're probably given like a little inkling of it when you're born, but it doesn't seem that big. But I'm gonna get into that in the next video. I think that's a really great topic I want to touch on. But yeah, Tesla, I think he could definitely credit a lot of his mental states and his powers coming from semen retention. And if you guys want to dive more into Nikola Tesla, I definitely highly agree and read his autobiography or watch it if you guys haven't. He's a really interesting guy and it definitely will inspire you. But if any of this resonated with you guys, I just want to say thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified when I'm dropping more content. And yeah, stay tuned. It's your boy Salem. I'm out.